What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel where today we will be back working on the 62 Belair Wagon project. Now last time we left off working on the left rear wheel well, and today we're going to continue work on the inner quarter panel along with test fitting our quarter panel skin to the car. So we're moving right along. We've got this inner lip right here fixed and we need to continue this on. But the problem is all of this down here is ate up, as you can see, but I believe I about have it worked out to where we can start working on this area. Now the problem with this area is you can see there's not much really of the original stuff to work with, and my quarter panel skin is a 2-door 4-door quarter panel skin, and this panel is actually longer, so I needed to make an extension, and I believe I've got that worked out. Now I've got a line scribed here. That's going to be my cut line just to kind of get this stuff out of the way. Now that I've got my quarter panel skin where I believe it needs to be. And here on the inside, which is the other major part, as you can see, there's not much left of it. There's a little bit more, meat up top here. This is nice and solid up in here. And you can see where I drew this line. That's where we're going to cut out. But this is the major concern right here. This is the bracket where your tank strap hangs. It actually hangs in a pocket. It comes across to here. Now, believe it or not, this is actually pretty solid, and I've got a brand new strap, and I've got a brand new gas tank, and I've already kind of test fitted it and everything, took some measurements, because you can see I'm gonna have to build this bracket because guess what? Like everything else, they don't make it. And you can see that I don't really have much to go off of there. So I've taken my measurements on where this bracket actually goes, and that'll be a starting point. And here is our brand new gas tank. This is actually for a 61 to 64 wagon. It is the correct gas tank. And you can see I do have a brand new strap. Luckily for me, I bought this, I don't know, several months ago, maybe a year ago. And I've actually heard these things are, pretty hard to get right now. And they definitely went up in price. And here is our tank strap bracket. Now this is a bracket that I made. It's not, a beauty piece by no means, but looks good. It's nice and solid, and it'll do the job. Now, where I have these lines scribed, that's where our bracket's going to go, and it's roughly going to sit about like that. We're just going to have to get that old one out of the way. We're going to cut all this out and put a new piece in. But I've already taken measurements so I can get this in the right spot. It don't have to be exactly perfect down to the, I don't know, 1/16 of an inch, but as long as you get it close, 1/8 of an inch, you're not going to be off by much. And here's our quarter panel section, and I'm going to show you exactly what kind of work I've done here. Now, like I stated, this quarter panel for the 2-door and the 4-door is shorter, and this radius actually tucks underneath the car at a different angle. So you can see I've extended a piece on there. Now, it's not really just as simple as adding a piece of sheet metal, a piece of straight sheet metal. There's kind of a compound radius to this. It rolls, and it rolls all the way down, but it kind of tapers in towards the back and it curls under. And I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about because I've actually flattened this out. This is actually turned out towards us here, and I've added this extension, which is actually an old piece from up here at the top. But if you take a look on the back side, you can see just how much metal we were actually missing. You can see we were really missing it right in here, and you see how it kind of tapers down. That's the difference of the roll on the bottom versus the 2-door and the 4-door in the wagon. So now we do still have to do some cutting and some welding and some hammering and some other stuff, but this is pretty much the way it goes on the car. And I've already done a little test fit, and it lines up with the old panel. So you see how it lines up. Now I'm just holding this up there with my hand, so it's not going to line up really well, but you can see it follows that old quarter panel section. So with that, we have the shape that we need so we can make this inner piece, so we can go ahead and cut this out and start working on that and match it up to our quarter panel section. Using the 3-inch cutting wheel, it was pretty easy to get this piece of rusted metal out of the way. And here is our old panel. As you can see, it's not in good shape at all. Turn it over on the back side, and you can see the foam that somebody added please don't do this. Just don't. No explanation needed. Just don't use foam on a car. Not in these areas. Now looking at the top section where we cut out, you can see that the metal itself is actually pretty solid and pretty good. So that's definitely a good sign. Now making this panel here is going to take a little bit of work because we need to make sure, one, it's long enough, two, it has a lip so it'll attach to the outer quarter panel skin, and three, we do need to have it to match up here at the wheel well, and we need to make this turn and a join right here on the corner. So I'm going to go ahead and take our quarter panel skin section and get it back up on the car. That way we can take some measurements of how long we need to make a panel. We'll make it a little longer and we'll just kind of adjust it as we go so we can get the right fit. So with the quarter panel skin on the car, you can see our quarter panel back half, you can see the radius. You can see it looks pretty good. It's pretty close to what the factory would have been. On the inside with the quarter panel skin on, you can see the old quarter panel and see how long it is. See how it compares to our new quarter panel skin. It's right where it needs to be. Now it's a little off because I got these zip screws in there kind of pushing this panel out. But if I take the zip screws out, this will actually sit flush in this seam right here. So I believe this is right where it needs to be. We are going to have to do some work on these joining panels here in the back, but that's besides the point. We need to get this squared away so we can get our tank mount and everything. So to do that, I think we need to go ahead and concentrate on this panel, and we need to get this welded in and fix all this area. And here is our quarter panel section finished and mocked up on the car. And as you can see, it turned out really well. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. Now, you might have noticed the method I used to weld that lower piece in. Basically, I had it zip screwed to the old panel, and I cut and I spot welded, I cut and I spot welded, and kind of clamped it down as I went. And then I pulled the old piece off the back. I picked up that trick on the channel, Fitzy's Fabrication. He shows you a lot of cool things, a lot of cool tricks when it comes to fabricating and metalwork. So check out his channel. I've watched it pretty extensively and learned a few things, and that's one of the tricks that I learned. Now, this thing is definitely, you know, it's going to need some body filler some body work. It's not going to be 100% perfect, just weld in, but I think it actually looks pretty straight. It's really not warped up. Back on the inside of the panel, you can see our old panel, our old quarter panel section. You can see it lines up really well. So I'm really happy with the way this has turned out. Now we can go on and we can concentrate on making this inner panel and getting all this area worked out. Now that we have the quarter panel skin fitted to the car, we can fabricate our inner panel and fit it to the car, and that's exactly what we'll do in the next video. So until then, I'd like to say thank you for watching. Be sure you check out all my videos on this project and other projects, and if you're not subscribed, then consider clicking the subscribe button, click the bell so you'll get the notifications, and you can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram.